Hey, yo, what up, everybody? It is 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it is your boys with the Mike and Mish show. What up, Mike?
Yo, what is up? We are here, back again, Wednesday to Wednesday.
We're back,
Welcome
man.
back, everybody. Look at the comments are going. Big Ben, J-Son, J4 Son. How do we say it? We don't know.
I think it's just Jason.
Bulls, Bears, and Brawls. Absent-minded. Swervo Cuts. What is up? Joanne O'Reilly. Look at that. The full name in action.
Yeah, it's good to see everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Our Cali boys are there as always. Check it out. Yeah, look at it. It's right there, man.
Oh, yeah. Look at I've got this too. Oh, I'm still doing this. Look at still going the wrong way.
Yep, you're
Nope.
the other side. Yeah,
Over here.
shout out, let's go, boy.
Can't figure that out.
Yeah.
332 episodes, and I still don't know which way to point. Fantastic. That means I'll never figure it out. That's what that means.
You'll never figure it out, Mike, but you know what? You don't have to fucking figure it out because we're here and we're going to do what we do. We're going to fucking talk some BKFC today, and we got two awesome guests coming on. We got the crazy white boy himself, Zeb Vincent, who's going to be back in action in Omaha on freaking April 18th? April 18th against Dionisio. I think I said that wrong, but
Perfect.
Dionisio
Exactly
Ramirez. So he's going to be back in there against Ramirez that night.
Hold on, I got something coming in. He said, "Yep, perfect." He just told me in my earpiece.
Oh, good.
Yep, you said it perfect.
According to the website, they will be the featured fight. That's a pretty good card, dude. You got Dakota Cochran and Marcus Edwards at the top. Derek Finley fighting Bryce Henry at the co-main.
I like that fight. I want to see what it's all about.
Yeah, and then Dionisio Ramirez versus the crazy white boy CWB Vincent.
Yeah,
he will be on here. And then
ready? Let's go, boy. White. Yeah, did that work?
White. No,
let's go, boy. White.
Your timing's way off.
No, damn it.
Shout out.
Let's go, white boy.
I hung out with Zeb in Kansas,
and
Zeb is a certified judge and referee as well. Look at that.
Oh, beautiful. We should have asked for a new drop that said shout out, let's go, white boy.
Well, he'll be on here. He's going to be talking about his upcoming event, his upcoming fight, and he's riding a 3-fight win streak and currently sits at the number 5 spot in the middleweight division. So he's kind of cooking right now.
And then beat Coltrane. Coltrane was just coming off a loss to the champ.
I know. Right? Yeah, and I don't think Coltrane's in the top 5. I don't know. Maybe I could be wrong, but Coltrane might not even be in the top 5 anymore. It's kind of weird. It's like crazy how things change. But Zeb is in that top 5, and he's got a fight coming up. And if he wins this one, that's 4 in a row. And I think he would definitely stake his claim.
Number 6, supposedly. But the way they have it on the website now is the champ is now number 1. So the top 5 is now 2 through 6.
Weird.
Yeah, and they do include a 7 on an occasion. In the women's division, they also include an 8. And in the pound for pound, they do too. Weird.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, maybe eventually we'll have top 10s, man. Maybe eventually we'll have top 10s. They keep growing the roster, keep building. Speaking of growing the roster, our second guest of the evening, after we finish up with Zed, somebody that I had, hit Jules Gray up 2 years ago and said, hey, Jessica I is a free agent and she can throw hands and she's a pure fighter. She's going to throw down if she gets into this sport here. You should try to get a hold of her. And I actually looked in my messages and I sent that message to Jules in July of 2023. I said, Jules, Jessica I is a free agent. You should go get her. She could be a real good contender in the BKFC flyweight division and even be a nice challenge for Christine Faria at some point. And here we are 2 years later. Fucking there she is going to be coming on the show tonight because Jessica I is signed with the BKFC and she's going to be fucking coming on here to talk about it. Cause I wonder how soon they're going to try to get her in there. She's been retired for about 2 years now. So
funny how that happens.
Yeah, she's been retired for a couple of years now. She looks like she's in amazing shape. Like she looks like she stays training because she's in like killer shape. a matter of fact, I made a post in I made a graphic in July of 2022, a full year before I even said it to Jules Gray, and I have screenshots to prove that shit. I'm not bullshitting you guys. I on July 3rd, 2022, it's in my phone. I made a graphic that had Cowboy Cerrone and Jessica I because they had just both left the UFC. And the graphic said, "Will we see Cowboy or Evil Eye in the BKFC?" That was in 2022. And then 2023, I told Jules she should go after that free agent. And now here we are, 2025. Let's go. It's going to be a good one, man. I want to see what they do with her. And I'm excited to talk to her about it tonight. What do you think?
Yes, sir.
Why don't we go ahead?
I was just going to say the same thing. Go ahead and do the sponsor reads because I see Zebulon is in the green room.
Let's go. So here we go.
Hey, Dynamic Life, sexual health, weight loss, and anti-aging. Retake control of your life by reaching optimal health. Visit www.livedynamic.com. It's the only online platform where you can become a patient in under 20 seconds. Also, check out their Instagram page at Live Dynamic. That's LIV Dynamic on Instagram.
Jeez, you really cranked up that yuck it up voice tonight, Mike. And when you guys are all done checking out Dynamic Life, head on over to the Rasha. It is at Rasha Elite on Instagram. Their website is therasha.com. It is the official mindset recovery and performance partner of the BKFC, as well as Christine Misfit Faria, Austin Trout, Dan Chapman, and many others, including your boys on the Mike and Mish show. Thank you to the Rasha. Go ahead and check out the Rasha and Dynamic Life and get that Mike and Mish stack in your life and be healthy, live forever. Sexual dynamo, skinny guy. Right? Did I hit it all?
Yes. I love it, Kyle.
All right, Mike. Let's
go
ahead and bring our first guest in.
So perfect. So good. We all love it. When we come back, we will be joined by Crazy White Boy. Let's go.
There he is. What's going on? Zeb Vincent, welcome back to the show. How you doing, buddy?
How are you guys? Good to see you.
Doing great. Doing great.
We are good. Last time we saw you, you were beating, I believe, the number 3 ranked or number 2 ranked fighter in your division, Doug Coltrane, and you looked great that night. And I bet you're itching to get back in there because it's been since August. And you've been watching all these big events go on with the BKFC. Where's Crazy White Boy at? Here he is. You got a fight coming up. How you feeling about it?
Hey, like I tell you guys every time, I'm in the best shape of my life. This is a profession to me. So me being out for that long, man, really, it didn't, I'm not going to say it aggravated me or frustrated me. It kind of poured gasoline on the fire, you know? Made me train harder. And some guys, it doesn't do that. Some guys, I've been laid off so long, they're going to start eating and get fat. I'm on weight, guys. This fight's at 170. It's not at 75 like it should be in my weight class. But, hey, they called me to fight. And you know what I got? You know what I do? I fight, guys. I fight. So, I'm here.
So this was an agreed upon weight, 170. He wanted you to come down to 170?
Yeah. He's a little guy.
Well, you know what's crazy? But yeah, I noticed that you got about like a 8 inch reach advantage on him, and you're 6 feet, right? He's about 5'7", so you are going to tower over him a little bit. But
we know he's going to be aggressive. We know he's coming with some power shots. We know he's coming in tough. You know, I don't discredit any of my opponents that step in the squared circle. If you step in there to bang with me bare knuckle, you have my respect at first. When we get in there and that bell rings, I mean, it's hard to respect the guy that's trying to beat you with his bare hands, isn't it?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yep.
So right now, it's all right. You know, I'll see how you act when I see you. It was the same thing with Doug Coltrane. You know, I respected him at the weigh-ins and everything, but when we got right here, his tone changed. You know, his tone changed. He got a little angry. He got a little mad. I was like, okay, I like that. Good, let's go then. You know, so we'll see what he's got to bring to the table.
So in that fight, right, when you fought Coltrane, you were going in there as the underdog, man. You went in there and you rained on the parade, as they say. And now you're leading him on the top 5. I thought that you were higher ranked. It's been so long, like Kyle said. So what happens is everybody starts dropping down when they don't fight, you know? So,
well,
man, having to wait to fight. Now you're fighting this gentleman here. We got to get you quickly back into the squared circle after this fight. No, we can't be waiting for this long, right?
2 months or less, you know, 2 months or less after this one. So I don't like to think after a fight. I don't like to think too far ahead. You know, I'm definitely a next step person, the next fight. And I agree wholeheartedly with everybody how you're only judged upon your last fight. So my last fight, I got dropped in the second round, and I'm very hard on myself. I'm my own toughest critic. I told my coach right after. I kept one hand was down a little much. This fight, you're not going to see that. You're going to see a better Zeb. You're going to see a better CWB. I'm training every day. I'm working my ass off, guys, and I'm here to make a statement again. I'll continue to make statements until that title's around my waist. And I don't have to drop names. You guys know who has the title. Everybody's dropping names. I seen somebody in Dubai that has one bare knuckle fight drop a title fighter's name.
I saw that.
Stop, man. This is BKFC. You know, BKFC, and I'm here to stay, bro. This is my home. That's my squared circle. So anybody that steps in there, when I'm in there, that's like coming into my home. That's like breaking and entering. And you know how we solve that.
You know what's crazy? What's crazy about you is when we first saw you in this sport, and maybe not everybody knows this, your first fight was at 205, right? Against Keegan Vandermeer.
Yes, sir.
And now you're going in there at 170, and you look like you comfortably walk around as like a middleweight. Like, what do you don't blow back up to 200 pounds in between fights anymore, right?
No, the most I get up to is 85.
85.
It was my birthday, March 22nd, so I got up to that, and that's about it, and shot right back.
You look like a totally different guy from that Vandermeer fight, and now you look like you stay in shape and you keep getting better. You're on this 3-fight win streak. You get a win here. I know you don't want to wait 4 months, but you know where would be a great spot for you? I think you would really, really own the crowd at Sturgis, August 2nd.
Oh, yeah. Bring them all. Bring all the – hey, man, I'm sponsored by Iron Eagle Customs, a big bike shop, so we would have a mob. Hey, we would all be riding down there.
Right. I feel like you're made for that card, dude.
Hey, we'd bring a show, man. We'd bring
that's August 2nd, right, Kyle?
Yeah, August 2nd. I know he said he wanted to get back in there a 2-month turnaround. It would be about a 3.5 month turnaround.
That's a perfect show. We went last year. That show was crazy. But
that was a record.
There's a select, like when you pick that card, you have to be very selective on the people because the people there aren't necessarily fight fans. Now, because of last year, they're going to have people that were there last year that are there this year. They're going to be like, oh my God, I love the fights. But it was the first time they'd ever seen that. Maybe there was a few people.
Who doesn't love it, man?
That's what I'm saying. They loved it. They're revving up their engines.
Dubai's going to love it, man. Dubai's going to love it. Everybody. You guys know, fastest growing combat sport in the world, and that's why Zeb, CWB, Vincent is a part of it, man. And Mike and Mish, you know, that's why we're a part of this stuff. This is the biggest growing sport in the world, and we're here to be there for it every step of the way. And that's, for me, that's a huge blessing, man. Coming from where I come from, what I've been through, that's a huge blessing. Coming from 205, I mean, I fought at heavyweight when I was an amateur, man. I used to weigh 230, 240 pounds.
Yeah.
Fighting's changed my life, man. So
clearly, it's awesome.
I give huge credit to my wife. I give huge credit to my coaches and my team around me. It's just
you're all in on this now. You're all in on it now. And our boy Big Ben actually said, and he's in the comments right now talking about it. You're so all in on this sport that you attended the judge and referee seminar, right? Out in Kansas, and can you talk a little bit? What made you want to do that? Is that something that you just wanted to learn the rules of the sport a little more, or maybe is judging and refereeing something you want to get into after you're done fighting?
I'll never take anything that has to do with fighting out of my book. You know, if it has to do with fighting, it will never be out of my book. And we all know that you have to have a career after fighting, right? You can't fight when you're 50, you know? I mean, there's some guys that do, but I would like to not to, you know? I'd like to have a couple belts, a nice resume, and be able to teach and coach. And I teach right now, man, and I only teach and run a class 1 day a week. That's because I'm so busy with my own teaching, my own training, and getting better myself. But of course, in the future, I'd like to coach and teach. And the judging and reffing thing, Sean Wheelock's from Kansas, man, and he's a Kansas guy, and so am I. I'm from Kansas City, Kansas, and he's seen my growth since day one in MMA. He's seen my pro debut in MMA. He's really seen me fight on the local card, you know what I mean, on the local scene, and seen me come from that fat kid to that 170 slice and dicer killer and bare knuckle, man, because that's what I am now. And that's another huge blessing. Shout out to Sean Wheelock for asking me to come be a demo fighter in that. And I demoed with Chris Lytle, and that was a huge opportunity, man, and a blessing. Nice. So I got to see a lot of what fighters don't see, you know, what the judges and refs are thinking. We as fighters would love to be in those guys' heads at sometimes, you know. We would love to see what they're thinking. So I think it was a huge benefit for me to be at that, you know. It was huge. It was definitely a look in behind closed doors.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's crazy because, you know, people might not think of it if they just watch the sport and, they go, oh, man, the judges. Oh, that's bullshit. I didn't agree with this. And that happens all the time, right? But the judges are the judges, and you're never going to be able to control what they're thinking. But you can get into if you go to that and you listen to the way people talk, what they're looking for. Oh, you guys, I know you guys watch fights.
That's why they did that, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
You get so much more intel. And
yeah,
that's what I'm all about in fighting, man, is intel. The more you know, the better you are. The more experience you have, the better you are. So
yeah. When the next fifth round, say the fifth round comes around at some point, or even the third round, and your corner's telling you something, and you know how the fight's going, you might think like, oh shit, you know, at the fighter meeting they said this, this, and this. I know where I am. I know what I need to do. It might be slightly varied from what you thought you needed to do, but now you kind of know where you need to be. It is definitely nice to have the insight of the minds of the way that the judges are thinking when they watch these fights.
There was such a mix of professionals there, from fighters to judges to refs, from old school boxers to MMA guys that came to one, because bare knuckles doing that. Could you guys agree? It's bringing MMA guys and boxers more together.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think it's definitely doing that. And for me, that's huge, because where I come from an MMA background, and I boxed for 3 years as a young kid, and they don't like each other too much back in the day. You know, boxers and MMA guys, they didn't like each other too much. But bare knuckles it's kind of making a bridge a little bit, you know?
Yes.
Creating a little unity in the community, in the combat sports world, right?
Unity in the community.
Unity in the combat sports community. Yeah. You know what's crazy is we're sitting here listening to you talk about all this stuff, and like being the kid that you are coming up through MMA. Did you ever imagine like you would be demoing at a seminar with Chris Lytle, or wearing the shirt that you're wearing right now that happens to be wearing Tim Sylvia posts a shirt wearing like Tim fucking Sylvia, UFC heavyweight champion legend, is rocking your shirt now.
Tear up, man. You're gonna make me tear up, bro.
It's wild to think about it, right? I mean,
so awesome.
Yeah, think about that. Like you're building your way up. Chris Lytle is a fucking legend. Tim Sylvia is a fucking legend, and they're wearing your shit, man, and they're demoing stuff with you. It's fucking insane.
Man, I got guys like Mike Perry and Max Crosby watching my Instagram story, you know.
Yeah.
Got David Feldman checking in on me, you know. I got all these stars looking at me, and it's breathtaking, guys, you know. It just makes me want to work harder. It makes me want to win more. And keep watching me, guys, please. Thank you so much. Keep watching me and keep rooting for me. And if you're rooting against me, keep rooting against me. and keep watching me, because that's all that matters. You're tuning in and you're watching. I appreciate the haters and I appreciate the supporters, man. Shout out to Tim Sylvia, man. It's so huge that me and him connected, and he's sponsoring me, and he's sending me gear, man. Him and Sean Keys, Slept Athletics, man. Get Slept. This is a big deal. Like you guys said, Tim Sylvia, Chris Lytle, Mike Perry watching my story, Max Crosby, my favorite Raider of all time. You know, I mean,
yeah.
My parents got married in the Oakland Coliseum, bro. Like,
really?
Yeah, dude. Like this, you guys don't understand how big this is for me, man. That's why, like, yeah, I shed a fucking tear, dog. Damn right, I shed a tear. This shit, bro. I come from nothing, man. You know, I come from shit, guys, and a lot of guys say that. It's a big cliche, you know. Us fighters, we have a bad life, yada yada yada. Well, I'm not here to talk about that no more, man. I'm here to talk about the good part, you know, the good.
Yeah.
Part. I'm helping the people at my gym. I'm helping the youth here. I'm leading the way for BKFC right now in the middleweight division, top 5, and it's one small step, you know, one small step and one giant leap for me, you know. It's
You've worked to change your future, so the present is good.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Man, exactly. Well, I think the future's very bright for you, Zeb. And like we already talked about, your opponent this time, he's a smaller guy, but you had to take what they offer you. You go out there and you, if you can go out there and get a victory over Ramirez on April 18th in Omaha, is who in that top 5? I know you want to make your way to a title shot. Dave Mundell is the end game for anybody in that division. Right. Dave Mundell might be busy with another opponent or two right now before you reach that guy. Well, who in that top 5 after this one do you have your eye on, or is it Sabah Hamasi who is calling out the champ and those guys? Yeah, you want to fight a guy like that?
I'd fight him. I'm not scared of Hamasi. But really, I'd like to fight in the top 5, right? That's what our rankings are for. That's what we've talked about in the past, guys. Our rankings. We have rankings for a reason, right? We have top 5 guys for a reason. I've won 3 fights in a row, bare knuckle, for a reason. I beat the guy was Doug Coltrane. His fight before me was against Mundell. You know, it was for the title. So I came in and beat him, and he dropped me in the second, but I think I beat him in dramatic fashion. I think I outclassed him. And I know Dakota Cochran's ranked above me, and I also know he's fighting in that main event on the same card as me.
Yep.
So it sounds like BKFC kind of knows what they're doing, you know? David Phelps is a smart man. They Shook's a smart man. They know what they're doing, you know? I'm here for it, man. I'm a company man, you know? I'm going to make the BKFC happy, and I'm going to get paid at the same time. So let's do it. Sign me up. I'm gonna beat this dude's ass, and then Dakota Cochran can get it next. Hopefully he wins. If he doesn't, I'll fight that Marcus Edwards guy that he's fighting. You know.
Well, you know what Chael Sonnen says. The great Chael Sonnen says, when that microphone gets in front of your face, you know what you want to say. Have a name ready. When you get the victory and Cyrus pops that question, you go ahead and say, I want the winner of the main event tonight. And most likely that'll come to fruition, because it does sound like they kind of have a plan. Yeah. And I think that you against either one of those guys would be a great fight.
Oh, yeah. I think Cochran would put on a show. You know, I think me and all these guys would put on a show. Me in there by myself is a show, fellas. You know, it's going to be a show. Like, I firmly believe I'm one of those guys that puts asses in seats, you know? As long as they've seen me fight before, that I want to see that guy again. I've heard, you know how many times I've heard? That's all I hear. When do you fight next? When do you fight next? And I want to make every BKFC fan say that. When does Zeb fight next? When's Zeb fight next? When's the CWB fight next? You know? So
well, you've done it 3 in a row now. You've looked better in every one of them. You stepped in there, the underdog, and took out the number 2 guy in the division. We are excited to see you on April 18th. Of course, Mike and I won't be there. The month of April is crazy with them being in Dubai. I'm going on a family vacation the week after Dubai, and then they're going to Italy 2 weeks after that.
Italy.
Yeah. Mike and I are taking the month of April off from going to events, but we're going to get back on the road soon after. I wish we could be in Omaha to see you live. We're going to give you the floor. Take a minute, shout out anybody you want to shout out, and then we'll let you get on.
let me add to this real quick. I just got my passport, so Dave Feldman, Nate Shook. Maybe we can do one overseas next. Just got that passport in, so we can make that happen. Let me shout out my sponsors, man. First and foremost, my gym, Rudy Bears Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in Westport, Kansas City, Missouri. Steve Crawford, American Jiu-Jitsu, and KCK. Get Slept Athletics, Tim Sylvia, Sean Keys. Thank you guys so much. Iron Eagle Customs, XM Automotive, Midtown Tattoos. I love you guys. Thank you for your support. Mike and Mish, thank you guys for having me on. Thank you guys. You know what I mean? BKFC, let's get it. Let's do it.
Let's go. Well, best of luck to you April 18th against Ramirez. Thank you for coming on the show tonight. Zeb, you're always welcome on here, and we can't wait to see you fight the 18th. Mike, you got anything else for the crazy white boy?
Hey, listen, Zeb, well, of course we're going to be watching you. We won't be there. But you want to know what? In the background, them Girl Scout cookies, man. I can't stop thinking about them. I keep reading that sign over and over and over again this whole time. Them Thin Mints, man, they're on my mind now. I'm going to be thinking about that all night. Thin Mints, baby, all the way. So, hey, good luck. We can't wait to see it. As Kyle just said, April 18th, Ramirez versus Vincent, BKFC Fight Night, Omaha. Let's go.
Get it.
CWB is going to be in the house, and we will be watching. Till the next time, Zeb.
Peace
Everybody
out.
else, stay tuned. When we come back, we'll be joined by Jessica I.
Our global expansion of BKFC continues.
First foray into the Middle East. We're going to Dubai, the Dubai National Tennis Stadium.
Goes down April 4th and 5th. 2 nights of fights featuring the biggest and baddest title fights in BKFC history.
Two-sport world champion. Here he is, Austin No Doubt Trout.
He just shows that skill he has. He's got so much ability. This guy is a special thing to watch for some type of thing.
Scoreless Trinidad Snake with emphasis.
Showing why he's undefeated and why he's going to be hard for anybody to deal with.
King Kai Stewart.
Kai Stewart just keeps growing. Unbelievable.
Arguably the top pound-for-pound fighter in all of bare-knuckle fighting championships. Tommy the Barber Strader. Undefeated in bare-knuckle fighting championships and victory for the South African.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I promise you, behind that icon is Jessica I. There she is. How are you, Jessica? Thank you for coming on the show. What's going on?
Hi, thank you for having me.
Very
It was like
exciting.
just before we came back, you like disappeared, and I was like, "Oh, what happened?"
Yeah, I
Are
was
you
hitting
there?
my my weed pen, so I figured I would just cut the camera for a minute.
Well, that's up to you. You can do whatever you want here on the Mike and Mish show.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
late for me, guys. I had a hard training day, and I've been like getting over kind of a cold this past week. So yeah, it's late. Where are you guys at?
we're in New England.
Yeah.
I'm in Connecticut. He's in Rhode Island.
Yeah, it's late for you guys too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Well-
though, you said you were sick. A lot of people are sick right now. There's a guy that I share the office with at work. His kids are sick. He was sick. His wife's sick. Both of my girls are sick. Like crazy. Everybody's sick.
You know, it's crazy. I moved down to Florida about 9 months ago, and I've had no issues. But like this windstorm came through like 2 days ago, and as stupid as it sounds, like I think I had some allergies from it because it like got all in my chest. But yeah, whatever. We still, we still had work to do. We still, had sparring and everything to do this week. So, it's a part of it.
Jessica, it was July of 2022. I posted a graphic with you and Cowboy Cerrone on it. After you both became free agents, I was like, and I posted it, said, could we see Cowboy or Evil Eye in the BKFC? 1 year later, I messaged Jules Gray and I said, Jules, because they announced Jules is building up the women's division. And we knew Jules from before. And I said, Jules, Jessica I is still a free agent. And another girl I said in that same message was Jessica Rose Clark, because you both had fought each other. And I said, either one of those two would be great in the BKFC. You're known for throwing hands. You're a pure fighter. What took you so long, first of all? And I feel like you're made for this. You know what I mean? I feel like you're made for this.
Yeah, it's funny, when you say people are like, "Oh, it's up my wheelhouse," right? Like that's something I can do. Like this is totally up my wheelhouse. And I know that kind of sounds cliche, but considering my fight style and, something I was even saying on Ariel, I started out boxing first. I had 5 amateur boxing matches before I even had any MMA matches. This is just like in that time where women's MMA and even women's boxing, was, going through such a transition. But, ultimately, I've said it a little bit. And I mean, those who have followed me and stayed genuine to me, during this time off, I was really done with MMA. It was like my story is so much bigger than like even things that people, if I've ever really shared. And I needed to step away from the sport and figure out who I was as, just Jessica I, and figure out what was going to make me happy and whether or not, I really was done. And I ultimately in my heart know I'm done with MMA, but I'm not done with boxing, and bare knuckle, when I think about it, right? Like when I put it in my head, what is so scary about it? It's no different than MMA. Like in my humbled opinion, like the MMA gloves, like my finger, right? So this is why my finger is like this, is because in those MMA gloves, the UFC gloves, I could never get my hand fully fisted. I could never keep it fully like closed, right? And the thought of being able to throw a full fist, fully, just, encompassed with with the wrist wrap on, I just feel like it's up my wheelhouse. It's up
Yeah.
something I would be really good at. And
So
pure striking makes a lot of difference. We're not worried about takedowns, kicks, head
Oh yeah.
kicks. Like game's way different.
now we've had Ben Rothwell on here like a dozen times now. We love talking to Ben, and Ben's really thriving in the sport. And he has said the same thing. Like he doesn't look at it as like a retirement plan for himself. He said, I look at this as a whole new career because I don't have to worry about grappling. I don't have to worry about kicking. I don't have to worry about jiu-jitsu or anything like that. All I got to do is throw hands. And he has been fucking killing it. And
Oh yeah.
and
He's
Eddie
the champ.
Alvarez said the same thing. Eddie said the training camp was the best he's had like his entire career. Like he didn't have to do all the other, so his body felt better coming out of training camp going into the fight. And the 1 minute in between 2-minute rounds was huge. He was like, think about it. We would only get a minute in between 5 minutes, right? So you're getting you're fighting for 2
You're
minutes.
fighting 2 rounds in all that spaced out time.
Right.
Like,
He was like, I felt so refreshed coming off the stool. Like I never felt so good coming off the stool for a fight before. So I think you got a lot of good things to look forward to here. You were at the event the other day, right? Down in Florida?
yep. I took my 2 coaches with me. It was the first time they'd ever seen bare knuckle in person. So I took my 2 corners.
Had you been to an event live yet?
Yeah, I went back in December. The negotiation kind of started back around December with these guys.
Oh,
We were
so
at
you went to the Hollywood one both times?
Yeah, it's right. I live in Fort Lauderdale now,
Oh,
so
okay.
nice.
it's literally right down the street from me, and it's super convenient. Which, to be very honest, Hollywood Casino is really nice, but I'm spoiled from living in Vegas. Like, what a pain it was to get out of that place on Saturday night, like trying to even get home. But yes, I went to my first event then, and then this was my second event.
So the question is like when you went to your first one and you like saw the production of the BKF, like the BKFC puts on a hell of a show, production value, the action's amazing. What did you think about it when you fast paced? They don't really have a ton of filler in between fights, you know what I mean? So what did you think about the whole product as a whole?
It's really hard. And I know that this is probably going to seem really weird, but like it's hard for me to go to events and watch them and like my ADD, like stay focused unless I actually know somebody who's fighting. Right.
Yeah.
So to say the least, like once I'm actually involved in an actual show, I'll be able to make that, true, like an accurate decision on it. But so far, from even the first time I went, I was like, oh my goodness, look how many people are here. Like, I was back in Bellator 83 right? And watching those back in, Mohegan Sun and even, Atlantic City. And they weren't even back then. Those were the big dogs, right? With, they were only ones competing with the UFC and, these, the leagues at the time. So to see bare knuckle, what they did that first event I went to, I was like, wow. And then this second time when I went, I was like even more wowed by it. I was just really, I'm happy for them. I love the underdog rise up story. So maybe a part of me is kind of like, hey, just get on this while the train is hot, and the ability for me to make some noise. And again, the just like when I got into MMA, right? The lane was very short. There wasn't very many women. So same with the UFC, right? The lane was short, so the opportunities were big. Well, the opportunity bare knuckle was already giving me financially was very motivating. And on top of me feeling as good as I have, right? Like you'd mentioned too, like what took me so long. I needed to step away from the sport, clear my mental health, like come back to fighting so rejuvenated that I remember just like how much it was like a release for me as a person. Fitness is something I'll have to do for the rest of my life. So will boxing or some type of level of combat. I feel like I'm always going to need that.
So the Hollywood event that you went to in December, that was when Christine Faria fought Christine Vicens, right?
Yeah.
What were you thinking when you're watching that fight? Because that's right where you'll be right there. Christine Faria is #1 pound for pound bare knuckle a female fighter in the world. You saw her fight. What did you think about that fight?
I
Is
thought
that
it
what
was
really got you?
gnarly. I thought it was gnarly. Like I love it. You know what I mean? I see how different my fight style is than all of the girls in there and the way that I would apply my fight ability. So I mean, again, she did great. I definitely thought that she was the better fighter even going into the fight. And just with her experience, I felt like I knew that's how it was gonna go.
Yeah.
I definitely think that they're adding some, tough girls like myself, who, can really throw punches. I mean, I stood and banged with Sarah Kaufman my first UFC fight.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a different caliber of us women that still exist in this sport that haven't been seen in bare knuckle, and seeing that different skill set. I mean, like Christine, Beck, and Britt, they're all really good. But styles make fights, and I'm a dynamic fighter. I don't think I've seen anybody on the roster that can move the way that I move. And now without any kicks or having to worry about a takedown, like it's been really fun training. It's been like really my ability to show my athleticism and, just show the sharpshooter that I can be. So watching her like kind of gives me something to shoot for, and she's been welcoming. I believe that's Jules's wife.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or are they married, Mike, or are they engaged?
They're engaged. I don't know if they got married yet, but yeah, I mean, it's right there. One of the,
Yeah, I'm not gonna be the one that wants to like talk all this, excuse my language, but all this mad shit and stuff. Like I'm so competitive. Like let's go. Like let's put on. Like let's show them how great we are. Right. Like if you want fake beef, I mean, we can probably pull off to the side, like with me or any girl. But I just don't know that I ever want to do that. I felt like that was a part of my MMA career. Is like you had to sell yourself. Right. I already did that. I fought in the UFC 16 plus times. Like, I don't got to sell you a show. My fight skills will do that. So I respect every girl. And it's literally about like, I can't wait to throw hands, like just straight killer mode, right? Like no emotion. There's no emotion for this.
What is so you like officially retired from MMA a couple years back, right? You were done with MMA and you just said that you don't want MMA, but in the meantime, you look like you're in amazing shape right now. Have you continued training this whole time, or have you been just focusing on boxing? What have you been up to as far as combat sports goes since you entered retirement?
So when I retired in 2022, right, I ended up coaching high school girls wrestling because I went back to Cleveland. I thought that, retiring, I was retiring in Vegas, going back to Cleveland, being home, was going to be what I wanted. I spent a little under a year there, and I coached high school girls wrestling, but I wasn't training. I didn't step on, the mat in a way that I would be competing. And I didn't even want to like help any young fighters. Like I really took a big step away. I ended up helping, like I said, the wrestlers, and that felt, it was my high school I graduated from. It was the first year ever that they were having women's wrestling. Like it kind of fit, So I did that, and then once that was done, I was just like, I'm so unhappy in the Midwest, and it wasn't anybody's fault. I think everybody was just living a different life than what I really wanted to live. And to be very honest, there was something so beautiful about the beach and the sunshine that I was like, hey, I'm gonna go do this. So I came down to Florida. I enrolled myself in real estate school. I got my life insurance and annuities license and was like, all right, we're going to be business evil eye, and continue to work very heavily throughout that on my mental health. So training was nothing, but fitness and eating healthy was, right? So I think you guys probably heard a little bit that parasite almost killed me, right? It took me up until now to fully recover my body fully and be able to get to the athlete that I am again from passing that parasite. So fitness became my big goal, but I didn't start, wrangling my hands back up until about December. And since then it's just been like, like riding a bike, and even better, not having to, like I said, worry about all the extra takedowns or, I've had a back injury. I broke my back the first time when I was 16 years old by a drunk driver. So not having to grapple and having to do that and being able to spend all my time in my nutrition, my workouts that are so specifically tailored to, power output, hand speed. It's been great.
It's so crazy. The parasite thing, like, I'm not sure if a lot of people, I don't know how much you want to talk about it.
No, I'll talk about it. I'm probably that girl that like will overly, you're like, wait a minute, can we wait to talk about it? But it was so real.
Interested.
It should be like one of those situations where we think something can't happen to you, and then we meet somebody it happens to.
Yeah.
It can happen.
What exactly happened there? Like, what's the story with that? What went on?
So I'll kind of, it's kind of jumbly, but so it was probably about 8 years ago, roughly. I started having these symptoms that I couldn't explain, right? And there was around the time when I fought in Singapore, which we had sometimes equate, because when I came back to 125, right? We beat Kalindra, we beat Kahujigan, we were looking fantastic, right? Like we beat Jesse Jess, or Kalindra, Jesse Jess. Kahujigan, right? We went on a 3-fight tear and I was doing great. I was in what I would say shape that I am right now, walking around about 136, 138, still eating clean, getting my cheat meals when I want them, but just, a dog who's ready to hit 125 when they needed to. And, we seen my returning to 25, I looked great. I mean, we all know where my career was during that time. So when I went to Singapore, I went 3 weeks ahead of time to be acclimated. And that's when I believe there was 2 like food experiences where I was like, wait a minute, that's not food. Like it didn't taste right. So I spit it out. But it was then that these symptoms over time started to continuously happen. And part of me was like, maybe I'm getting to be an old fighter. Maybe it's all these crazy other things. And then these bigger symptoms started to happen. I missed weight. The first time I missed weight and I couldn't explain it. I ate right. And I just would look at the scale at times. And then even the way it literally made me feel like I was crazy. I'm not even kidding you. Like there would be times I said to my little brother, I'm like, why do I feel like there's something wrong with me? And he's like, you're just stressed. The UFC's throwing these things at you, like it's not that. And so finally, after I missed weight again, right, and I almost passed out on the scale, that I really started to take things into my own hand. That I had actually met a doctor. Well, I went and got a colonoscopy, an endoscopy, got all these special scans where they were like, the UFC helped me, and ended up coming to find out my gallbladder was completely non-functionable. It was dead, and it was like turning septic in my body. So we removed that. We think we're good. Then I end up getting, right before I'm supposed to fight KGB, Andrea Lee, I'm supposed to fight her. I'm signed to fight her. I end up getting sepsis and E. coli and put me in the hospital, and I almost died. I mean, I was in the hospital for 10 days. I mean, thank you, Dana. He paid for that, medical bill that, kept me in there, because if not, I would have died. I would have checked myself out of the hospital being like, oh, it's just the flu. From that and the mystery behind it, of them not being able to explain to me how I got septic, like how my body went septic after my dead gallbladder was gone, and all these, how did I get E. coli, right? I don't want to go too gut guru, but we have E. coli in our gut at all times, but it should never be the point it attacks my own body. So I knew this girl. Her name's Kylie Bogdan, and she's actually works for the Cavaliers, and she worked with a couple CrossFit athletes that I knew. I'd reached out to her and told her that, you know, I went and met this spirit worker lady, and this lady told me, and again, I'm kind of jumping around, but this spirit lady literally told me, you need black walnut. You have a parasite in your gut. That's your stomach issue. So I told the lady, the nutrition lady, Kylie Bogdan, who I post all the time about, I said, Kylie, I think I might have a parasite. We did a series of stool tests, different blood tests, and sure as shit, guys, I had a real parasite in my gut that we ended up doing this cleanse that started in March, that ended in May when it came out my butt.
Wow. And so it's
shit.
taken a lot of the nutrients that your body should be getting. The parasite's taking it.
It was eating me. It was, if you know that show Monster Inside Me, like, it was legitimately eating every inch of me.
So
crazy.
crazy.
It was crazy. It's
a horror.
It's
That
mind
sounds
blowing.
like a
I
horror
feel like
movie.
it's gonna be a story I'm gonna tell the rest of my life. But I want people to know how important it is to check our guts. You know, it is to do deworming. I mean, other cultures do it. We absolutely, like, look, if you eat red meat, if you're a vegetarian and you eat strawberries, right? Like, this whole earth is a big micro, you know, place. You know, there's
microbiome.
Germs. Yeah, there's germs. There's things everywhere. So it's like, if we're willing to take a car to get an oil change, you know, and give it a filter change, you know, why not do it with our bodies?
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. There's so many crazy things that can happen.
I just on Instagram over here, somebody said grossest picture I've ever seen. LOL.
It is. It's crazy.
So I just Googled this picture.
Yeah.
It made my stomach like kind of queasy a little bit.
I know. You know what was crazy is because nobody believed me. Believe me, there was some people. I went back even to the PI. I was like, I told you guys. Like, I told you something was wrong with me.
Everybody was like, yeah, all right.
Dude,
yeah,
it's crazy. For those watching, go ahead and just go after the show's over. Go Google Jessica I parasite testimonial, and you can fucking check.
Don't worry. I always put it out there because I want people to know, like, it's very important. Like, sometimes people start dealing with things that they don't even know what they're dealing with. They're like, oh, the foods that never used to bother me. Like, look, guys, you can ingest mold. You can breathe it in on accident, right? Like, if you think we can get sick from, you know, from other people, we can get spores of mold. We can smell them and they go into our body, right? You can eat them on accident. You know, it happens all the time. Eat a little peanut, not even mean. It's got a piece of mold on it, and you throw it in your mouth. Next thing you know, your cellular in your body is able to, like, it finds you as a good host at that moment, and boom.
How many years were you dealing with this?
Almost 8 years.
8 years. So like almost the entire time. Like almost your entire UFC career.
Yes. When people like, and listen, it's not an excuse, because look, and Valentina kicked me in my head, right? You can't, that's not what I always go to. But the way that my body responded and the way that it shook was crazy to me. And I even I said that to the lady, you know, when we had talked about it, like, it absolutely could have been the parasite. Like, literally it hosts your body. And again, if you've seen how big that thing was, like, we had to kill it. So it got me really sick. Like, I was really sick for about a good 30 days when we were killing it, because you can't just like go in there and rip a parasite that's inside your intestines. Like, I can't just like go rip a scab off and not expect there to be, you know, any issues. So yeah, so everybody get parasite cleanse.
Yeah, you are a fucking warrior. Holy shit.
Yeah.
And I was telling Mike,
that thing is long as hell too, and it's big, because I've seen all sorts of different things, and like and not like, I've seen things with people. I've seen different types of things, like, because like, say for instance, like in Africa, there's a lot of tribes that are living out, and they don't have what we have, but they don't have clean water and all that. And, you know, they came out with the life straw. I think it's called the life straw, where they use it and it filters the water. And it's because of things like that, like parasites. And I've actually seen them remove parasites that grow in the skin, and they come out kind of like the foot, and they have to wrap it around a little branch, and they have to slowly wrap it to pull it out. And it's like a pain. They're so long, they're going from people's arms through their shoulder, through their body, down their leg, and out their foot, and they have to slowly wrap it. And it's supposedly one of the most painful things you could ever go through. But the thing is that people don't know it's happening. and they need to drink water. People need to survive. And like you went there just eating something and you just got a little bit there and it's a microscopic little tiny thing. And then it just stays in your stomach and just eats while you eat, It's so crazy. I've seen it in bugs a lot because I watch a lot of bug like documentaries and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And
it's crazy
they will take over the bug. They'll take over the host completely. I don't think that's ever really happened in a human yet. But never say never.
I don't know.
It's crazy.
Perry, I called him Perry. Perry the parasite was an asshole, man. He made me like
Perry the
a bit of times. I'm like, because I even look at my body and I look how inflamed I was. Like I was not even there's pictures I see of myself and I'm like, who is that person? And like on top of like, after the parasite, like I literally did more scientific testing with this lady and like imagine putting yourself in a food bubble. If I told you like these 20 foods are the best foods for your body and your body loved it, you would eat those foods all the time and you'd be feeling your best, right? Like it would be what your body actually needed to grow. So that's kind of been where I've been at. Like that's what's kept me in the best shape and allowed me to even like train healthy. Like, I mean, as crazy it is like I felt like at points like I just couldn't think straight, and so here we are, back to fighting, parasite free.
So you could be entering a new chapter of your career feeling better than you ever have. In the entire time you were in the biggest organization in MMA, in the UFC, you were fighting the best top 125-pound women fighters on the planet, and also fighting off a parasite the entire goddamn time.
It's
crazy to think that you went through all of that, and now you're entering this new venture in life, and you just happen to feel the best that you felt your entire career. You know what I mean? It's crazy to think like that.
When it would get its worst is like during the weight cuts. We had some really hard weight cuts, like Charles at the PI would always help us, like Eric Nixick and Gray Maynard. Like when I was out there with those guys, like even my poor little brother, times like we wouldn't be able to have good weight cuts. And it really just strained all of us. But I can really contest to like not feeling good. So when we went into my very last fight, against Macy Barber, and this is kind of leading into where I am now, is like I was exhausted, dude. Everybody who I trained with and everybody's like, dude, you didn't even fight Macy, you just held her. And I said, I didn't even want to fight. I was so exhausted. I had just passed that parasite 6 weeks previously. 6 weeks, May 10th. I passed that. I fought, or maybe a little bit more. July 2nd is when I fought. I was exhausted, and I didn't even want to fight anymore, right? Like, but the weight cut was great. We made 125 easy, like it was perfect. So knowing all of that and like kind of having that like weird, like icky feeling, like I'm really excited to do it right this way moving forward. And the people I'm working with moving like where I'm at now, and granted, things are great for me and my old teams and Strong Style. And, like I would have never, like, I came here to work on me. I didn't have any intention on ever fighting again. So for me to find such amazing people that were so knowledgeable out here that made me feel as comfortable as the people I spent 10 plus years with, I felt really fortunate. So where I'm at now is I've got these biohackers. I've got these doctors down here that are like literally treating me like a fine-tuned machine, and helping me find out all the things that I can do to recover and be my very best.
Wow. Well, I'm glad you're healthy and looking forward to this new thing. How soon do you think we could see you stepping into the BKFC squared circle?
So I don't know. We were originally supposed to fight in Dubai, but we couldn't come to like a full agreement. And I don't think that they had an opponent for me. But it's supposed to be May 10th. So I don't know. It's been, I know how this fight game works. Like we're going to start getting into danger zone where you get too close to a fight. I know I wouldn't want to take me on short notice, but I mean, everybody's different.
What would be an ideal, like, do you want 6 weeks, 8 weeks, or right now with this?
I want to fight May 10th. I want to fight May 10th.
Salt
we
Lake
were ready
City.
to go for Dubai.
Yeah, May 10th is Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
That would be fucking awesome. We would
come back
to get out there.
Come back to Florida, and I'll do it here on my birthday in July.
They go to Florida so often.
Yeah, we love that area. That's like our favorite area to go to BKFC events, by the way. Like the Fort Lauderdale, Pembroke
Mohegan on June
Pines,
14th.
Miami area. That fucking area is great.
There's the Mohegan on June 14th, but I think this is a little far. I don't think you want to wait this long, but we just talking about BKFC Sturgis. We went last year and it was fantastic. And this year is 85th anniversary. Usually there's about an average of 500,000 people at the Sturgis bike rally. At the 85th anniversary,
they're doing a BKFC at Sturgis.
Yeah, they did it last year
August
too. 1.1 million to 1.3 million people will be there this year for the 85th anniversary, and it was fantastic. You got to go watch this event. You have to go on the app and watch the Sturgis event from last year. It was insane.
I have to. You know, I'm a big motorcycle rider, so that would be.
And it was headlined
that again.
Oh, you'll love it.
Last year, it was headlined by Britton Hart and Taylor Starling, 2 women at the
Yes.
top.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
You know what's? I feel like shame on me, right? I watched, but there was, like I said, there was such a disconnect. Like I really didn't like. I really don't think I watched any MMA. Like I wouldn't even watch it on Saturdays. I was like, broke up with you right now. You know,
Yeah.
had enough fighting. I was like, I'm broke up with you. Like
I've had about enough of this. You know, I feel you. There's plenty of things that I love. And then there comes a time where I'm like, you know, I just need a break from this. I just need a break from it. I've had enough.
Yeah.
Sturgis
It's been my whole life.
A
Since
cleanse.
I was 19 years old. So, you know, it's been a long time. And I feel like, you know, I can say I missed it.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to do it right this time and we'll do it a different way. So, you know, I think you had mentioned previously, like, nobody's going to remember my UFC career when I go out here and do something great. When I go be good with my hands and where people aren't going to be like, oh, she got kicked in the head. Like,
Yeah, you got kicked in the head by one of the greatest ever.
Yeah, but you know, like they also forget, like, man, my very first fight will always be probably one of my favorite UFC fights because nobody would have ever expected me to go put hands because that whole fight was me and Sarah Kaufman throwing punches. That was it.
I remember you boxing. You basically boxed Leslie Smith's head right off in the first round of that fight. I remember that one too. Sturgis last year, Mike was just saying how crazy it was. It was so crazy because they had announced that Connor became a part owner at Knucklemania 4, but he didn't show up to an event as a part owner until Sturgis. He showed up and they did this grand entrance where he walked out and they had like Welcome to the Jungle was on. They had the Irish flags behind him. And like he came out there and like that was the first time we ever had any interaction with him. And like he soaked up the fucking biker life. Like he bought a vest and he like went to the bar and was like,
oh yeah.
He was like telling us backstage, he's like, I'm getting a bike next year.
A nice cozy bike.
But yeah, he said, I'm gonna ride a big cozy bike out here. That's what he said. We're like, man, this is absolutely crazy. And then this year they're expecting more than double the amount of people. So there was like, I don't know, there was maybe somewhere in the 15 to 20. It was somewhere in the 15,000 range around the ring that night. They're thinking like 40. They're thinking like they're like guessing like 40,000 are going to be fucking piled in there for the fight night. So,
well, you got to appreciate Connor. I mean, he's doing a great job. And, you know, I ran into him last week and literally I said to him, like, he was so sweet. His words are always so funny. The way he called me like muscular monstrosity, but it was so funny. Connor, I've fought on so many cards with him. He's such a good guy. Like, I know we, you know, see him, how they are as they act, you know, build a show, but he's such a great guy. And he's like, don't worry, like, Jess, I'll take care of you. So like, I believe that. I think that Bare Knuckles got, you know, good, big plans for me and is willing to take care of me. And I appreciate that as like a fellow fighter. Like, we got to give back to the industry. And right. Like, I appreciate that. And I appreciate what he's, you know, giving back to the sport. Like, we definitely need that. Not to mention, like, there's so many OGs in a part of Bare Knuckle that I really love it. Like, Chris Lytle was one of my favorite fighters back in the day. I used to love his right body. His body shots were like my favorite. Those were like, I remember being like, oh, that's how I'll set up my takedown. Just throw body shots.
Chris is one of the coolest guys ever.
He's awesome.
Like we've spent many a times like just bullshitting with him about life and stuff. I never thought in my entire life that I would like be friends with that guy, but he's super fucking cool. And like you said, a lot of OGs like Eddie Alvarez and Jeremy Stevens and Ben Rothwell, the heavyweight champ now. There's all these familiar faces that are really taking this thing to the next level.
Mike Perry
and having Connor involved really, like David Feldman and his family and like his tight circle there have done wonders with the company in the few years.
Really good guy. He has been 100%, you know, he communicated with me. He's been honest. He's been anything I could have asked out of what I would want a partnership moving forward. Me and my manager work very closely. So conversations, like I have no problem having conversations with the big dogs. And I want them to know that my management's there to help me. But like we're a team and you can talk to me too. And I want your number, right? If I'm fighting for you, I want your number.
Yeah.
I want to be able to say I'm calling the boss, right? And I appreciate it because I'll say this much. Dana was very fortunate. Mick, all those guys, you know, we were, you know, a lot of his fighters were treated that way, and I'm fortunate for that.
It's so this company, when Kyle and I first started covering BKFC, it was a little bit before Knucklemania 1, where Paige VanZant made her debut against Britain Hart, and the first event we covered live was that event, Knucklemania 1. So that was back 2021 in February. So when we went there, we didn't really know many people. Now we've been to like 40 events or something. We've been covering the sport forever at this point. It's been 4 years, so it's not really forever. But since the beginning of the sport, really, you know, since this sport really started taking off, we were there at the ground level. You will find out that this company, when you look, Conor McGregor's a part of it now, and there's some big names here, but this entire company was built like a family. It's a family that runs it. When you get to the down to where, you know, people, when you go and you start, when you have your fights and you go in and you sign your posters and you're going to meet people and you're going to be like, oh, you're this person's mom and you're related to this and you're this person's cousin. And everybody was related when we started. They were just all a family. And over 4 years, they got to where they are now. So they were going from like hundreds of people to tens of thousands of people and now all over the world instead of just in a couple of states, you know? So it happened so fast. And so, yes, David Feldman, like he is very personable. I've had nothing but great interactions with him, and we've known them, like I said, for 4 years now. And technically, I was the beginning of what they, you know, when they started. And I just feel like they're a family, so he understands. He just got out of being a local promoter just yesterday, basically, and now he's a friggin' international superstar promoter. You know, so it's really crazy.
And Mike, it was right in the heart of COVID too when that stuff. It was like they battled through it. They not only did they do what they've done in the last 4 years or 5 years, but they also never stopped during COVID. It was like UFC had Fight Island and like Jacksonville, Florida. Bellator had Mohegan Sun. Yep. And the UFC and the BKFC was finding fucking places to get shows done. And they battled through it. And they survived through COVID, and now, you know, they got Connor involved and they're taking it to the fucking moon. And now Jessica,
and now they got Jessica I involved.
Yeah, that's right. Got these paws involved.
And the women's division, that is one thing that Mike and I have been like talking. I don't know if they have a hard time finding women that want to take the gloves off and fight bare knuckle, because maybe that's a hard sell for a female fighter. Finally, they are, but they brought in Jules, and we love Jules. Jules is great, and she was going through some things lately, and she's back now, and she's like, she's I think, is she over in Dubai right now? I think she might be, but I hope she is. Anyways,
I would hope so.
But
I was.
But she's heavily involved in the women's divisions, and she's done a great job. And they went from having like the 125-pound division had like 6 fighters 2 years ago.
You know what's crazy is I feel like there wasn't really much of a weight divisions, right? These girls were just kind of meeting in the middle, like 120s, and now we can start to see, you know, maybe a straw weight, you know, a flyweight, a bantamweight, you know, a featherweight. We can start to see that, you know. We start seeing some success and people making noise, more girls will come, you know. And to be very honest, like when I think about it, honestly, when I think about even just bare knuckle in general, at this point, like the thought of doing MMA and blowing out my knee seems like the worst time in my life right now, right? From grappling, right? And I love wrestling, right? I love that. And believe me, I love doing that stuff. But the thought of having to do that right now, go through a whole nother rehab, even if I wasn't going to, like, there's just the risk over the reward is too much for me, right? Because now you don't get paid, right? You don't get paid in your fight camp. right? That, you know, if you blow out your knee, right? Like you fight, I don't know, just the bare knuckles seems so much different. But even with that, I mean, I don't know. I guess I just really don't see the big difference. And I know it's still boxing. It's like
Right.
we used to in the gym, we used to do boxer versus wrestler, right? Like so the person have to take them down and you'd have to, you know, work on your striking. So I feel like I don't know. I feel like it's really no different.
You know what's going to happen, and we'll wrap up with you in a second here. You're going to fight for the first time in the BKFC ring, and you're going to fall in love with it. And in the post-fight interview, you're going to say, "I cannot wait to do this again," because that is every single person says. I swear to God, every single one of them is like, "I want to get right back in there and do it again." That was the funnest thing I've ever done in my entire fight career. They always say
I bet.
it's like, it's starting from 3 feet away from each other in a circle ring, only 2-minute rounds. It's like so fast paced. You see it, and like everybody just has a blast and they stick around. And now it is what it is now. This has been super awesome. I know it is late for you, Jess. Thank you so much for coming on here, and welcome to the BKFC. Like, we are very excited. It's been a long time that we've been wanting to see Jessica I throw hands in the BKFC squared circle, and it's finally going to happen. If it's in Salt Lake,
about it.
in Salt Lake City, or if it's in Florida, or even Sturgis, hopefully Mike and I will be there and we can see it live. Thank you so much. Do you want a second to say any final words to everybody that's paying attention?
Man, just thank you everybody who tuned in. And obviously, like my biggest saying in life, self-belief is better than social disapproval. So just keep believing in yourself, keep working on your mental health. This world is super fucking hard, but none of us are getting out alive. So we might as well enjoy what we have here right in front of us. I'm super thankful for you guys, my team, Zeke and Zach, Dark Side of Strength. These guys have been putting the best strength and conditioning program together for me. I'm super excited. You guys will see. It'll be because of those little scientists back there, and they're figuring out exactly what exercise is going to make Jessica I perfect. So, I appreciate all the people around me supporting me.
Well, Jess, anybody that watches this episode or listens to it in their car tomorrow or whatever, you're going to be, they might get a little grossed out, but you will be an inspiration to a lot of. Yeah, they will be good. They will be
just
searching your name
a little bit if they got a stomach.
You're definitely it's definitely an inspirational story when you listen to it and really pay attention to it. So thanks for that. Good, best of luck in your debut when we finally hear when it is. And Mike, do you got anything else for Jessica?
Thank you so much for coming on. You're welcome back anytime. Cannot wait to see you live, whether it's May 10th or if it's in Sturgis, wherever it may be. I want to be there for it. So can't wait to see it. Thank you for coming on. Thanks for sharing some of your story with us. And hey, have a great night. And we'll talk to you again soon. And everybody else, stay tuned. We'll be right back. Adios.
Bye, Jessica. Thanks. Jeff Houston.
Wow.
Mike's got a question for you.
Oh, shit. You ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. I'm here with Jeff Houston, best announcer in the world. We're going to ask you a couple of questions. Okay. Wow. Name the top 3 cartoon theme songs. Go.
Captain Caveman! All right. I got one. All right. Let's go ahead and let's think about this, because the thing about it is that when you're talking about cartoon shows, you're thinking about so many different generations and everything like that. We're ready to party. We're ready to party. We're ready. I hope you bring lots of spaghetti. Garfield and Friends. I'm sorry. All right. All right. Here we go. Heathcliff, Heathcliff, no one should terrify the neighborhood, but Heathcliff just ain't get no one playing pranks on everyone.
Man, fantastic, Jeff.
Wow.
All right. Wow. Ready? Now, I'm going to put somebody on the spot. What movie is this from? Say something.
From the Mission Mac Show.
Tell them Lodge Mod sent you.
Oh my God, don't even give me that shit about that. Don't even get me started on that.
What is it?
Oh my God. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get my close-up for this one and everything. It's not for sale, Francis. Come on, Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Don't even...
Houston's a goddamn legend.
Is there a basement in the Alamo? There's no basement in the Alamo.
Hey, this is Andrew Glenn. A shout out to Mike and Mish, BKFC #1.
Dude, Jeff Houston is one unique, beautiful character.
Love it.
God damn it. It's so funny.
One of my favorite.
I love how he says, don't even start with that shit. Don't even get me started with that.
Give me that. We were talking about this in the car on the way to Philly. And I saw it and I was like, I'm playing this. I know we've played it a few times in the past, but it's fun to bring it up from time to time. I do love that one.
I love that too, man. Shout out to Jeff. Hey, that was fucking awesome. Both of these guests tonight were great. Zeb Vincent is definitely, they're both inspirational stories if you really think about it, man. He comes from a tough background. You know, he used to be used to be a fat kid, and now he is a top 5 middleweight in the fastest growing sport in the world. And he wins on April 18th. He's on a 4-fight win streak, and he is right there in the conversation for a title eliminator, or, a top 2 or 3 guy in that division. And then Jessica man, awesome of her to come on, share her story with us. And like, dude, she went into details on some things, and that shit was rough. You know what I mean? She went through. It's really hard to think and picture the fact that she fought her entire UFC career like battling that freaking parasite.
That is the craziest shit ever. Looking at the picture, that thing is massive, dude. Because I've seen people with worms and they're like smaller, and they're like, there might be a few of them or something. That thing is huge. That thing is huge.
It's something out of a horror movie, dude. It really is something out of a fucking horror movie.
That's the thing. Like, it's eating she's not getting all of her nutrients. So she's like, what the fuck? Like, I can't even imagine. But the crazy thing is she's going to the hospital. She's getting this checked out, and they didn't even know. She had to go to someone else, the specialist, and they found that shit. That's how wild that is, man.
She's amazing. That's amazing, dude. She's a warrior for sure. And you know what? And I said it while we were talking to her. If you go back and you watch some of her some of her better performances, and she went the distance with almost every top 10 fighter in the UFC during her career. If you go and look at her 16 fight UFC career, or 16 or 17 fight UFC career, she didn't have the best win-loss record, but she went toe to toe with a top 10 contender every single goddamn time, and also fought Valentina Shevchenko for her title. Didn't get the win, but Valentina Shevchenko, in my eyes, is damn near the GOAT. Like, there's a conversation to be had between Valentina, Chris Cyborg, and Amanda Nunes, and I guess Ronda Rousey too, if you want to throw that in there. But I would say the top 3 women MMA fighters of all time are Cyborg, Nunes, and Valentina. And Jessica went in there with Valentina fighting a parasite. That was, insane.
She fought a lot of people, man. She really did. Like,
list them off. They're crazy.
So Sarah Kaufman, Alexis Davis, Leslie Smith, Misha Tate, Juliana Pena, Sarek McMahon, Betch Kohea, Misha Tate. That was in Submission Underground, that one. Jessica Rose Clark, Valentina Shevchenko, Vivian Arroyo, Cynthia Gavillo, Is that Calderwood?
Yeah, Joanne Calderwood. Yeah,
it says Joanne Wood.
Yes, because she married a guy whose last name is Wood. She went from being Calderwood to Wood.
Wood. How weird.
Yeah.
Jennifer Maya, Alimale McFarland, like Alimale McFarland in Submission Underground. Yeah, crazy.
Macy Barber is a beast.
Macy Barber, yep.
Right.
And she was supposed to fight Casey O'Neill, Firo, Andrea Lee. Like this, that's like everybody.
It is literally everybody from rank number 1 to 15 in the UFC flyweight division. Like she fought a top 15 fighter every single time out, and she went the distance with damn near all of them. You know what I mean? It's crazy. So one thing that we always remember from her, though, is she has hands, man. She could always throw hands. She could throw fast. She can throw powerful combinations, and she can make it a bloody, bloody mess. And that is with MMA gloves on. Take them MMA gloves off and let her ball that fist up fully. Like she just said, she could never actually ball a fist completely because of the gloves. Maybe you're small or whatever.
Yep.
But yeah, think about that, man. If she can just, and now that she's healthy, she's in shape. You don't have to grapple. She don't have to do all the other shit during training camp. She just has to work on the hand speed, and it could be one hell of an addition to the BKFC flyweight division. And shout out to Jules Gray for getting it done, and shout out to Feldman for getting it done. They got another big name in there, and I hope, dude, and I hope, you know what, I mentioned the other Jesse Rose Clark.
Yeah,
I hope because they're going to Australia, we get another announcement, something like that soon.
Oh my God.
I hope that they announce Jessica Rose Clark. Bring in all the Jessicas. Anybody named Jessica that fights, we're gonna sign you all. Let's go. A whole league. Jessica Borga, Jessica Rose Clark, Jessica I. Jessica, bring them all on. Yeah, it's awesome. Hey, before we wrap up, Mike, which we'll get down here in a second, guys, and thank you all for staying with us and tuning in. Good size audience in the comment section tonight. I love you guys. The press conferences today.
Yes.
I'm gonna just say that I am a little disappointed in the media coverage of the sport. We are trying to grow this thing into the second biggest combat sports company in the world behind the UFC, and they're damn near there already. Why is there no media coverage of a 2-day event in fucking Dubai?
I don't know.
It disappointed me. It really did, because there was 2 people that asked questions, us and the Weekly Bust. That is it.
Yep.
That's it, and it's a fucking shame.
Where are the peeps? What are they doing?
Where are they? They have a 2-day 22 fight extravaganza over 2 days in one of the most beautiful places, one of the most fight saturated areas in the fucking world, man. Dubai, they love the fights out there. They pour money into them. They fill up arenas. Where is the media coverage? I'm calling you all out. Mike and I would be there. We're full time in the Army still. If I didn't have to fucking work, if these guys would have, like, if somebody would have said, Mike and Mish, get on a plane, you're going to Dubai because you guys are going to be at this press conference, I would have been on a plane, and I would have been at that press conference, and I would have been asking questions. I would have been loaded with questions, because that's what we do. We're not a bunch of stoonads over here. We're actually smart in the sport. We're not wasting time, and we're trying to do our part to grow the sport. Where was the media, Mike?
I don't know. I don't get it. It's time to put Mike and Mish at every event. We just got to do it. It's time. Nobody knows what we know. Nobody does what we do. It's time.
I get this. Savage Combat Sports Media. I get it, dude. Not everybody does have their passport, and I'll give you that. But
oh yeah, I remember. Did we meet him down in Hollywood? I believe we did.
I think
he
yes,
gave
we
us
did.
some stickers and business cards.
So here's the deal.
You remember what's up, man?
You could have, and maybe he didn't know this, and maybe that's on the BKFC. Maybe that's BKFC's PR guy or whatever. I don't know. Maybe they weren't informed, but you could have submitted, like, there was a way to submit questions for media.
Yes.
And maybe not everyone knew that, and that meant then it's shame on them for not letting the media know. Like, I don't know what it is, but it was a well put together press conference. I thought it was weird that Tommy Stridham was not there. It was you only had one.
I don't get what was that about.
I don't know. They said he was arriving tonight, but like he's not already out there. He should already. I
guess not.
That's.
I mean, I haven't seen pictures of him there.
Yeah, he might not be there yet. It's weird.
Well, why wouldn't he be? This is the fight of his life, essentially. Hasn't had a fight this big in his entire life leading up to this. dare I say he doesn't have another one if he doesn't win. Do you know what I'm saying? So, like, this is the fight. This is the time. This is where you're early. This is where you need to be. I don't know. I don't get it. He should have been there. Should have been there.
He should have been there.
Missed opportunity.
And you know, all love to freaking Cyrus, but like the host of the press conference shouldn't be standing up there asking all the questions. I don't know about that format, and it's not his fault. There was no media questions, so he did an awesome job. Oh, and Mike Davis ended up sending in some questions too. It was like 2 from us, 2 from Thailand,
yes,
and then 2 from Mike. That was
yes.
it. It was 6 questions total. Mike didn't ask a lot, Big Ben. Go back and watch it.
I think it was 3 questions.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot. Come on now.
But that's the thing, though. It was us. It was 3 people. I mean, we cover the sport all the time. We see it, but people need to start focusing. How do we get people to start focusing on the fighters that fight for this company? And no matter how many people they get, you know, there's always those people that are like, the UFC fighters, we're mad because they're there and people talk about them. Okay, well, that's what they're there for. Because if they're not there, they ain't talking about you, right? They're not talking about you, okay? Let me be the bearer of bad news. We're talking about you. They're all not talking about you. So we need those people to come in, the Jessica eyes, to come in to bring the fucking eyes, pun intended, to the sport so that they can see these other fighters like the Farias of the sport and the Britton Harts and the Ty Emerys and the Jessica Borges. You know what I mean? Like, need to see these fighters, and they can't see them if they ain't paying attention, but we need people to pay attention. God damn it.
Hey, I will shout out the media down in Hollywood the other day. Savage Combat Sports is commenting about that. The post-fight press conference was good the other night.
Yeah.
The media did really well down there.
There's no lack of media in Florida.
Yeah,
they did
a really good job asking a ton of questions down there. That was cool.
Mm-hmm.
And they kept Connor engaged. It was a good show.
But I want to see that. We need to see that international coverage. You know what I mean? There was a lot of people in Spain. There was a lot of people in Spain.
Yeah.
Dubai, so far, I'm a little sad because, you know, we need more.
We need more coverage, man. We need more coverage.
And if not, let's overnight us over there. Put me in. If it fits, it ships. Throw me in a box. I'll be there.
Yeah. Well, Mike, we got work tomorrow. We got weigh-ins to watch tomorrow, everybody, at 11 a.m. tomorrow morning. The weigh-ins will be on. The weigh-ins for Friday night's fight. So Kai Stewart and those guys won't be on the scales tomorrow, but it'll be Britton and Ty. It'll be Sabah Hamasi and his opponent. It'll be Austin Trout and Trinidad Snake. That card will be weighing in tomorrow, and the ceremonial weigh-ins will be broadcast at 11 a.m. tomorrow morning. So get your iPads ready, get your phones out when you're at work, sitting at your desk, put your earbud in. Act like you're working hard and fucking watch some weigh-ins tomorrow and get ready for a great weekend of fights. Mike, we got to shout out our sponsors one more time, and then we'll get out of here. All right. Hey, you got to get over to Dynamic Life. It is at LIV Dynamic on Instagram. There's a link in the bio. You could click on that link. You could be a patient just 20 seconds later for weight loss, sexual health, and anti-aging. Dynamic Life is your spot for health and wellness. Get over there. It is at LIV Dynamic on Instagram. And then head over to the Rasha. Shout out to the Rasha and Jules and Jer and all them guys. They sponsor us, and they are the official mindset and recovery tool of the BKFC, and Austin Trout and Christine Faria and Dan Chapman and Mike and Mish and many others. Thank you to the Rasha. It is at Rasha Elite on Instagram or therasha.com. That is their website. So shout out to our sponsors. Thank you. Do it. Thank you one more time to Zeb and Jessica for coming on. Have a great conversation with us. And Mike, do you have anything else for the peoples at home?
Can't wait for this weekend, guys. Maybe we jump on a little chat this weekend. I've been in a chat during fight night. There's going to be some fight days 2 of them. Can't wait to watch all these fights with you. Man, Kyle, it's going to be a good week for fights.
Yeah.
Everybody else.
It was a good night, Mike. It's going to be a good weekend.
Yes, sir.
Peace.